Hello everyone, welcome back to Iesha Nyree TV. I am Iesha Nyree and I'm so happy to be here. We are talking about creative entrepreneurs and having a creative life and how to sustain yourself and amazing things every day. I do a video every single day. I realize I need to stop saying that, so I'm going to take off the weekends, but there'll still probably be something to offer because there's always something. Daily videos and information. So please like this if you like the information. That's how I know what content to offer you. So like, subscribe, and share. Spread your knowledge and bring your friends on board so we can share and bring about a wonderful community. Today, I'm going to talk about a topic near and dear to my heart is creative blocks. When you're just feeling like you're in a rut. Oh my gosh. Oh, the deadly obstacle of a creative block. Writer's block, artist block, singer's block, blocks. And we hate them. I don't mean to brag. And it's not really bragging. I don't have nearly as many blocks as I used to. But there are many times in my life that I have. So one thing that I love for myself, I love empty space. And I love empty space not to maintain the empty space, but I get really jazzed when I see an empty space because the first thing I want to fill it. I want to fill it with something. I get so excited when I see empty space. I'm like, yeah, what am I going to put on this? So, and blank paper. I have oh my gosh, I am one of those people. I will buy blank books and keep them, just like look at all the lovely white space. I'm like, oh yes, I love you. Like when I see walls, I'm like, oh my gosh, all I do is imagine all the wonderful things that's going to go on them. An empty stage. That anyone that's worked with me, like load-in day is like my favorite days when we come out and there's nothing. So it could be everything. Even this even goes into outdoor space. Like when I go to an empty field, I'm like, oh, look at all this space. Look at all this empty space to frolic in. Golf courses. I don't play golf. You all, I don't play golf. I don't have an interest in playing golf. I'll go to a golf course though because it's just so wide and green and empty. I just want to run around in it. That does annoy other people trying to play golf, so I don't do that. But that is what's going on the inside. I just want to run around in it and play in it. So yeah, I love empty spaces. Not for long. I just like that initial seeing it and like letting my mind pop in wonder. So I just love filling things and with something, like some sort of beautiful, or not beautiful, just something that tells a story. That is my favorite. So because of that, I don't feel intimidated by empty spaces. There have been times when I'm in a creative block where that love of the empty space kind of looms back at me, and it feels like the space is laughing at me almost. That's just staring back. It's like if you stare into the abyss stares back. And those are awful because I want so bad to fill it with something, and I just can't come up with anything to fill it with. The more I study and the more I research and the more I talk to other people, the more I'm exposed to different things and different techniques. Now I don't have to deal with that nearly as much, which is wonderful. And when I work on projects, I give myself a reason to challenge myself to come up with new and engaging ideas and ways to present art in the world. To the point that I have become known for that in a lot of my voiceover work, in a lot of my acting work, that I have created a reputation for myself to be one of the more creative artists that come around. So I like that. I like being known as someone who looks at things from different angles. And I will get from people like, how do you do it? How do you do it? One of my first big projects that I did online was my 100 days of voiceover challenge, #100, the number 100, 100 days of voiceover. You can still look it up. I'll put the hashtag down below. I am in the process of starting another one of those challenges. Stay tuned. That's what we call a teaser. So I am in the beginning stages of what that's going to look like, so I can start that project up again. So thank you for everyone who has given me great feedback on that original challenge and given me ideas for what to do with 100 Days of Voiceover Take 2. So yeah, and I love having this reputation of someone that always comes up with something new, always keeps it shaking, has a billion characters, can come up with new characters and keep it fresh, keep it light, keep it moving, because then I'll be able to create for infinite time. And I love that. I never want to stop. So the question is, how do I do it? So when I get into a rut, there's a couple of things. The best way to get out of a rut is to prevent it from happening before it happens. So prevention. How I prevent that. In my other video, I talked about cross-pollination. The cross-pollination helps exposing myself to different art forms and just taking it in. Not as a, you're gonna give me an answer, I'm gonna copy whatever you do. Like, not from a greedy point of view, just taking it in like everybody else and seeing what moves me, seeing how I feel, just consuming art like every other spectator. So that helps. Reading and researching for the sake of reading and researching helps. So if there's new books out there, I'm gonna read a lot, and not just from people that I know or other authors or playwrights or writers that I have something in common with. I want to know more about cultures and people that I have nothing in common with except the fact that we're human. So that helps too. On a day-to-day basis, I get outside a lot. So as a voiceover actor, and so other voiceover actors that are tuned into this can agree, we're inside a lot. Like, and also as an actress too, because I do a lot of stage work on top of the on-camera stuff. But we're inside a lot, and we work at night a lot, and we work in tiny confined spaces. Like, voiceover people is not for the claustrophobic, because we're often in tiny little soundproof booths talking to ourselves. So there are times if I'm really busy and I'm churning out a lot of pieces, a lot of projects, if I'm just busy, which are great times. I love being busy. So if you want to make me busy too, make sure you hire me. So there are times where I have to force myself to get outside and just go. Like, go anywhere. Go for a walk. Go to a park. If someone said, hey, let's meet up, great. Putting it out on Facebook or calling people, like, I'm just going, or just going by myself. Like, I'm going to go to a brewery, or I'm going to go to this new festival, and finding new places to go, especially because if you're going to the same places every time, it's delightful having your pub or your restaurant or your set place that you go on. These are all great, and they're great stress relievers, but I'm talking about to make sure you're getting enough input to avoid creative blocks. Then you gotta start going to new places. Just shake it up a bit and go someplace new, because when you start going to the same paths, then your body will naturally, and your mind will start to automatically go into those comfortable rhythms. So when you start shifting it up a bit, now you're going to force it to see something at a different angle, and that's where you'll get that spark that you'll think about and ruminate about, that will inspire you. So get outside. Another way I prevent staying in a rut is looking at things from as many different angles as possible. So whatever your chosen medium is, leave room for yourself before you're settling in on your big projects that you're like, I'm getting paid for this, I have to do this, or I only want to work on this. But you also have to give yourself time and permission to just do some playful exercises. If you're a writer, some writer prompts. There are writer's prompts all over the place, and give yourself some. Like, what if happens? Same with acting and voiceover work. And I started thinking, like, well, what if? I ask what if a lot, and then play with some scenarios. They don't have to be logical. The less logical, the better, because you're trying to force yourself out of a paradigm that you have locked yourself in, and that you can't think past. So you're trying to give yourself different opportunities. Also, think in terms of what is your first response to something. So for creative blocks, if I know I have a new for the 100 days project I did, I would decide, okay, maybe today I'll do a little girl voice. I'll try a little girl voice. So then I go through, okay, well, what's the first thought I would have? Okay, a little girl, baby 5. And then I say, okay, well, that's one. From there, then I say, what else? What if? And I ask those games a lot of really pushing myself, like, well, what else kind of little girl would that be? Like, what if she has a lisp? Or what if she's from this part of the world? Or what if she's actually 8? Or what if she is a 10-year-old genius? Or what if she's really emo? Or what if she's a real tomboy? Or what if she had just lost her first tooth? Or what if, on and on and on and on. It's a little different than just regular improv. It's just asking, what if, what if, what if? Because then you start coming up with other ideas and other ways to go, and then you start writing that down. And sometimes I lead somewhere, sometimes to that. But remember, we're just going to get past a block so you can start moving your flow again. If you have not been doing the prep work and you are sitting and you are faced with the challenge of the blank space that you used to love and now it's taunting you, so you have to, and this is going to sound crazy, but it always works, just start. I know it sounds really easy and people are like, that's it. Like, that's why you've maybe listened to 12 minutes of your video and you convinced me to subscribe to your channel, but hear me out. This idea that you have to wait to be inspired and you have to wait for the muse to come and you have to wait, like the muse is like a little butterfly that lands on your shoulder and says, I'm going to give you all the things. And if you're waiting for that to come to be inspired, then you're going to write. You're never going to write, because that's just not how it works. You set up your actions and the muse will show up. And if the muse doesn't show up, well, they'll catch you next time. But they will show up. They always do. So when I'm in a bad creative, the reason I don't come about them too much is I've just set up my life now that when it's time to write, I'm going to write. And yeah, I keep blank paper. I keep ways to document nearby, because as I go on all these adventures and go on different places and I go to find inspiration somewhere else, it's nice to have a way to like grab those snippets real quick just in case I can go back to them. But the reality is I give myself time to write, and those are writer's time, or creating time, or painting time, or designing time, brainstorming time, whatever it is. And during that time I sit and I say, I am not leaving until I get something on paper. And then I just start. I just start putting something to that empty space. Don't overthink it. It doesn't even have to be good. Just start. There have been times where I was so riddled with, because I write as well, I was so riddled with writer's block. I'm like, I can't do it. I guess I'll never write again. And someone taught me this technique of, just sit and don't wait for the muse. The muse will show up. Even if you have to write 1,000 times, I don't know what to write. Fine, do that. Start with that. I don't know what to write. I don't know what to. Around round 5, you're gonna start getting really tired of saying that, and you're gonna say, well, what about this? Okay, write that, and just start. Just start writing and see where it goes. Don't overthink it. Just put something down. Because remember, if you are experiencing a block, that means you're self-editing yourself before you've even created anything. So you're letting your ego and the inner critic take over before you even get started. You have to break through on that and just start. One thing I admired, my boyfriend and I recently went to a Heroes convention. Had so much fun. And they had this really cool exercise, drink and draw. And one thing that impressed me, and I love artists, and I do love drawing. Fun fact, before I knew that voiceover was a thing, I thought I was going to be an animator. I was dead set on this. I had my own comic strip. I think my mom still has some of the strips saved. I loved drawing and drawing cartoons, so that's what I was originally going to do, is be an animator. I had no idea that, oh, by the way, like that takes years and years of work, of very intense art study, and you can actually do the voices, and that's fun too. So, but I still admire and like watching people draw and create art. I still draw myself. And I submitted, the whole premise is you drink and draw. And you draw on these little coasters and you draw your piece. And you can either keep it or you can donate it. And then they'll start auctioning off for wherever for charity. So somewhere I hope someone bought my fun coaster. But what I noticed is I had a fun... the colors were cool, and even in that one little block, I was able to tell a really cute little story, but just one visual block of how I had it set up. And but one thing I did notice, besides the technique, because I tend to sketch, I start with a sketch, like sketchy, because the truth is I'm not a confident drawer. So I execute it just like I do with my writing. I just start kind of sketching until the lines start to form, and then I commit to whatever it is. So one thing I admired walking around with the people who drawing is their main art form is how confident they are about putting that first line on there. So it wasn't very sketchy. Like they were using ink and the lines were very clear. Like all the lines were like so just clear, like they really thought about in their head what they wanted to look like, and they just started. And they just knew where it was going to go. There wasn't a lot of like sketchy. They just committed and say, I'm putting this here. I don't know if they knew where the next line went after that. It didn't seem like it, not right away, but they didn't shy away from that first line. They just put it there. And then they connected it to the next line, and next. And they had these really beautiful, lovely comic, cartoon, animation drawn effects. I'm like, that's so cool. And then from there, they got into more detailing work. And I noticed that how theirs looked different. Mine looked different because it had those short little sketch work quality, and theirs had a very strong, definitive, like, commit. Like, I'm going to sit here and do this, and I'm committing to it. And whether it's good or bad, because I can always go back and fix it and I know I'm going to make it work. It's like that with cooking, too. I do that when I'm cooking. I might have a general idea of what I want, but then I commit. I just start putting in spices, start having a general idea of what they do, and just do it. So if you're facing a big block at the time, you do have to, there's power in the action, in just starting. There is such a power in the act of beginning. So begin. Your writer's block, it is, or your creative block, because this goes for dancers, everyone else, they're self-induced. Your brain is working perfectly fine. There are ideas and flow and just bits and pieces of info and everything about your life, everything about you that you've experienced. Even if you're like, well, I haven't experienced it today, but you have emotions, all of your emotions, all of your relationships, what makes you, your background. These are all places for ideas. So it's not that you have a shortage of ideas. You just have an overabundance of criticism and an overabundance of ego that you have to put aside. So you just have to start. Start wherever. Start with writing about the frustration of being frustrated. Fine. That's a place that people can connect to. Just begin. And the muse will show up. So those are your two places to get out of your writer's block. So if you're in one now, I wish I could jump through the screen and give you a big hug, because I know how frustrating it could be. But let me be the one to also tell you your idea that you are blocked. You're not blocked. You're not. You think you're blocked. But it's a self-imposed block. You are putting it on yourself, so therefore you can remove it at any time. So get outside, go get some different inspiration. Anything. Start getting some different inspiration, and let your mind wander a lot more, and then begin. Because wherever you're beginning, trust me, it's great. It's great. The worry about like first drafts and this is going to be a bestseller. Those are all the realm of the ego and the critic trying to put up boundaries before you've even gotten started. The role of the creative part of your brain, it just wants to create. So let it. You can edit it later. Don't worry about that. Just begin. So I hope that helps. If you are currently in your writer's block, you can do it. Or I keep calling it writer's block because that's what I deal with a lot, but your creative block, because if you're a choreographer, you're going through this. If you are a costumer, you go through it as well. So begin. Give yourself some new and improved input. Let your mind wander a bit, and I give you permission to just put the first line, put the first word, put the first voice, put the first sound. Go. Just start anywhere, and the muse will show up. So hope this helps. Keep an eye out on the next round of 100 Days of Voiceover. I'm really excited for what I'm thinking of, so I can't wait to really announce it, because it's going to be amazing. So, like I said, like, subscribe, share if this resonates with you. Give it a big like and share it with all of your friends. If you have some other friends that are kind of feeling blocked, send us on to them. This might help. And send me a comment. If this helped, if you want to know more, let me know and we will make that happen. So like, subscribe, share. Come see me on my other platforms as well to get different content. And I will see you tomorrow. Keep creating. Bye.